Hi guys, and welcome to the show. And today we are reviewing the Squale 20 Atmos Militaire. The reference is the 1545, and this is a Swiss-made automatic. Now first of all, we'll get the specifications out of the way. Inside we have an ETA or ETA 2824-2, which is an absolutely fantastic workhorse movement. One of my favorites, one of my personal favorites. We have a off-black matte dial, as you can see, beautiful patinaed super luminova. This is a special old radium GL super luminova. The case is a 316L stainless steel. It has a 42-hour power reserve, 20 atmos or 200 meters water resistance, of course. As you see, we have a date at 3 o'clock, a beautiful domed sapphire crystal, and on the bracelet we have a diver extension, really fantastic diver extension on the bracelet, solid end links, and then we have little screws on the links as well, so really fantastic quality bracelet. Personally, I think it looks absolutely gorgeous on a grey NATO like this, keeping that kind of military theme and to kind of match the kind of understated matted black dial. I think it really works. So let's get the size out of the way. We have a 40mm case size, 20mm lug width. We're looking at about 48mm lug to lug, and the thickness, I would say just over 12. So I think it's 12.5 to be exact, to quote the website. So the price retails at $540, I believe. And we also have a unidirectional bezel, and I must say this is one of the best bezels. A bit tricky to do with the gloves on, so bear with me. Very precise, 120 clicks. We have a screw down crown at the 3 o'clock. Again, signed with the Von Buren, that famous Von Buren logo there. And on the dial we have Squale at the top, Squale name, and then the Von Buren logo underneath the famous Squale shark. Actually, let me just unscrew this very quickly and move those beautiful sword hands, of course. We'll just move that out of the way. Of course, it's hackable. As you see, the second hand has stopped. Let's just put it. Let's put it to about. Let's put it there so we can just screw it back in. Really nice action to it. Very impressive. The quality on this piece for around about the $500 mark is unbeatable. So as you can see, it's very hard to see, but the hands. We just angle. Let's just angle it. I'm going to put my hand there. You can see the hands are completely black, and the only way you can really see them is the applied lume. Beautiful big broad hour hand, sword hand, and just a very simple plain minute hand, and of course this little second hand. On the dial, of course, right at the bottom, if it just zooms in, there we go, we got Swiss made, and the kind of minimalist theme is kept going by. The date is not framed at all, so really minimal. Just, you know, it really is in keeping with that kind of minimalist military theme. Some people don't like the fact that the second hand is kind of blacked out. I really like it. I think it's quite endearing, and I think it's quite a unique feature. So just having a look at the side, quite a thin, elegant profile. A really nice size, really elegant size. It just sits beautifully on the wrist. In a minute I'll do a wrist shot, of course. The action to the crown is fantastic, as you just saw. Well, obviously you can't feel what I'm feeling, but trust me, the crown screws in beautifully. It really does feel outstanding quality for this price. Squale really do these so well. We have a little lume pip at the 12 o'clock and an aluminium insert bezel. Okay, so let's have a look at the back. We'll just briefly take off the NATO strap to look at the back. So we have a screw down case back. I think, is it hexagonal? How many sizes it got? Well, hexagonal screw down case back with just very basic information. Of course, the Squale logo again, beautifully done. Absolutely top notch quality, and I kind of like that space because if you wanted to, I'd be tempted, if I was going to buy this, I'd be tempted to put my TGV logo or some kind of inscription there. So I think that's a really nice touch. Now, while we're on the subject of straps, we'll just quickly address the bracelet. This is the bracelet that pretty much is standard on all the 1545s now. The clasp is of decent quality. It's not the best and it's not the worst. Of course, it's signed. The bracelet itself is very solid. I love these This is the same as on my Heritage, which I am keeping. This one is on loan from Squale, so I'm completely indebted to them. They have been absolutely fantastic. So I'm not going to unpackage it. This is going back to them. This is a sample, obviously. These screw links really work very, very well, and it's extremely easy to change and size it by yourself. Diving extension, if we just open up the diving extension, it's extremely well made, engages very easily, and of course you can make micro adjustments on the bracelet. The actual bracelet construction is very solid, all stainless steel of course, and does the job perfectly. Very nice solid end links, and you know, it's slight tapering as well, which is I really do like. I'm not fond of when bracelets don't taper. In my opinion, it could taper even more, a little more, just to keep it light. But you know, these days I very rarely have a bracelet on my watch. I think my actual Rolex Submariner is an exception because it's just such an amazing bracelet and clasp on the newer subs. And I think that's pretty much it. Everything else I wear on a NATO, but that's just me. So anyway, let's get back to the watch. So considering we just mentioned Rolex, we might as well talk a little bit about the Rolex Military Sub that this is obviously inspired by. The problem with trying to buy a Rolex, you know, 1970s original military Rolex Submariner, they didn't make that many, and it's one of the most sought after Rolex Submariners out there. Is obviously they are worth an absolute fortune. I saw one auction recently, over $50,000. It can reach even up to $100,000. There wasn't that many made, so you know, unless you're absolutely minted, I think pretty much this is the ultimate alternative. Now, why do I say it's the ultimate alternative? Well, you're getting the Squale name and quality attached to it. It's far more cheaper, obviously. Also, being a new ETA, which is very, very affordable to service, extremely reliable, and it's brand new, you're not going to have any of the headaches with a vintage piece and the high cost of maintenance. Also, because it's new, it's obviously going to be more robust. So the last thing to consider is its rivals. Now, personally, I think this is the ultimate alternative to a Rolex Military Sub from the 1970s. The Steinhardt, I think, is the closest competitor to this, but there are three reasons why this beats the Steinhardt. First of all, it's 40mm size. The OVM from Steinhardt is a 42mm, which is not as sleek and in keeping with the traditional Rolex design. This is much sleeker. Its smaller size is far more sophisticated, and I think truer to the original. Secondly, Squale have their own history, own prestigious history, nautical history, of course, in diving, and they have a ton of achievements in making cases and for big brands. You know, we've discussed this great length on this channel, you know, so check out some of the earlier Squale videos. But they've also made watches for the Italian Navy, Carabinieri, Italian paratroopers. So you know, Steinhardt hasn't got any of that history or prestige. So when you wear a Squale on the wrist, you're wearing that prestige. You are buying into that. You are you know, when I wear my Squale, I'm proud to wear it. You know, even when I'm in the room with my friends who have all got Omegas, Pateks, or Ulysses Nadin, whatever they're wearing, I'm proud to wear a Squale. You know, it holds its own with the big boys. Even a more homage piece like this. I do like the Steinhardt, but for me, I think this is more tastefully done, and also they tend to keep their value better. I mean, actually Steinhardt too, but Squale really do hold their value quite remarkably for watches under the $1,000 mark. I think something like this just begs to be used. It begs to have scratches and worn, and you know, it needs to be abused a bit and really add to that character. So it's a really outstanding watch, and I think for the asking price, it's just pure class. You could just feel secure in the fact that it's a reliable, well-made piece that really holds its own. Ultimately, what is my conclusion on this piece? Well, I think it is absolute pure class. Maybe not to everybody's taste, but certainly a very well-made, well-priced, beautiful piece. let's face it, guys. I mean, when am I ever going to be able to get a military sub from the, an original military sub? Probably never. And even if I did all have hundreds of thousands to spend, I'd rather buy a lot of other watches before I get a Rolex Submariner. And also, a thing to consider is it's going to be really hard to track down and find an actual real military Submariner. There's a lot of Frankensteins Rolexes out there, so you don't have any of those headaches. You just sure, it's not original from the 1970s, but you still get that Squale heritage with it, which I think is priceless. I think it's a fantastic deal. Okay guys, so I'm going to leave it there. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and found it useful, and I'll definitely catch you in the next one. Okay, thanks for watching. Ciao.